everyone! Today I have 20 tips to build better houses in Bloxburg, so let's get right into it. The first tip is to plan before you start building. Building without a plan takes more time and money than building with a plan because you will delete a lot more. You should plan your house before even entering build mode. I would advise planning the layout, color scheme, and budget. For the layout, you can plan it with fences like this, but I prefer to use walls since it's easier to see like how it will actually look. For the color scheme, you can just place these 1 square wide walls by each other and then experiment with colors until you find colors that look good together. And for the budget, simply make sure you have enough money for the house that you're building. I'd suggest at least $25,000 for a small house, $75,000 for a family house, and $150,000 or more for a mansion. You don't want to run out of money in the middle of building, so work before you build. The second tip is to make sure your house isn't too big. Keep the walls 6 squares long at the most and the rooms 6 by 6 or less. These numbers are general, and you can make rooms and walls bigger, but just be careful if you do. Usually, there is no reason to make them any bigger. For example, here's a house with walls that are 6 squares or less. You can see there's a good amount of space without the house looking like weird or too empty. However, here's a house with much longer walls. As you can see, it just looks too big, and the windows and the doors barely take up any space with the wall. Additionally, do not leave too much empty space inside your house either. Filling up empty spaces makes your house look more realistic and decorated. Some easy ways to fill up some empty spaces are with rugs, shelves, and armchairs. The next tip is to leave enough space in your house. It's important not to make your house too big or too cramped. For instance, don't place doors or windows on 1 square wide walls like this. The doors can barely fit, as you can see, and it just looks really weird. If you don't have anywhere else to place that door to a room, then that means the room needs more wall space. Also, always make hallways more than 1 square wide. I see a lot of people make hallways just 1 square wide because of a lack of space, and there's just no reason to do that. It makes your house look cramped and hard to walk in. Just make the hallway 2 squares wide or more. It will look so much better. The following tip is to limit the amount of diagonal walls in your house. Diagonal walls are difficult to use in houses. They make it much harder to place floors. I'd recommend not using any diagonal walls or using very few of them. This will make building much easier and your house will look way more realistic and put together. If you do have any diagonal walls, make sure to place your floors manually without including the diagonal angles so the floors look neat. If you place the floors automatically, they will just look messed up like this. The next tip is to add lots of windows. Windows add more natural light to your build, and if you don't add enough to your house, it will just look like a jail cell. Make sure every room has some sort of window, except for bathrooms, you don't really need a window. However, be careful not to overuse them, or else you won't have any room for wall decorations and no privacy. The following tip is to add plants to your house. Plants add life to your house and are important for both the interior and exterior. When you're adding plants outside, make sure to place them a bit randomly so they look natural. I'd advise you add trees to the corners of your house. I don't know why, but it just looks so good when they're at the corners. Also, make sure your trees don't block the view of the front of your house. Furthermore, consider adding custom colored grass to the yard of your house for a better looking exterior when you are in public servers. The normal grass color is really bright and just sometimes doesn't look good with houses. You can even add custom grass in stripes like this with slightly different colors for some extra detail. The next tip is to add wall trim and pillars. Wall trim and pillars add realism and detail to your house and make the walls look less plain. It is the easiest thing you can add to improve your build, so you might as well add it. The next tip is to not overuse any color, especially linen. Overusing colors is common in Bloxburg, but it looks really overwhelming and like you don't know how to color. No matter how pretty a color is, it is important to balance it with other colors so your house looks more organized. If you find yourself painting everything the same color, try and switch it up and alternate between 2 and 3 different colors instead of just 1. The next tip is to use quick paint when you do color. This is a very convenient shortcut to color much faster. When you have items that you want to color the same as each other, first just color one of them, Then press F on your keyboard to enable the paint tool, and then press Shift. Click on any items you want to color like the previous item, and Bloxburg will automatically color them the exact same. The next tip is to avoid using just plastic. Lots of people have houses where almost everything has the plastic texture. The plastic texture is really pretty, but overusing it makes your house look unrealistic. Try to incorporate different textures into your house for more realism and details such as wood, planks, concrete, bricks, and sand. Speaking of colors, the next tip is to use realistic lighting colors. Even if you aren't doing a realistic style, realistic lighting colors complement every style well. Experiment with different colors to see which one fits your build the best. Linen is a good color for a warm and comforting house. Cloudy gray is great for a realistic or neutral house, and oyster is a good color for almost any house. The next tip is how to place extra lights if your house is too dim. Sometimes having lights inside your house is not enough, and there will still be dark spots inside the house. But if you add light to them, it will be too bright. This is where hidden lights are useful. You can place lights under the floor on the basement ceiling or on outside walls to light dark spots in your build and balance the lighting. Additionally, don't forget to add lights to the exterior of your house and the yard. During the day, you don't need lights outside, but they look beautiful at night and make your yard visible. The next tip is to make your house functional. Making your house look nice is important, but it should be practical as well. Don't add so much decoration to the point where you can't walk around. Also, if you do a realistic house, don't use transparent decals in place of objects that you actually need to use, like fridges and electronics. Next is to keep a consistent theme throughout the house. I see so many houses that have an interior that looks like a totally different house than the exterior. It just looks so strange and out of place. Make sure the exterior and interior of your house match and look like they're actually the same build. Use similar furniture sets throughout the house as well. You don't have to use only one furniture set, but don't use like a modern set like the hairpin set with a super traditional set like the tufted set. It's surprising how often people use drastically different furniture and it does not match or look good at all. The following tip is to add unique rooms to your house. You don't have to do this, but it can make building and role-playing more fun and allow you to fill empty rooms you don't know what to do with. Some ideas for extra rooms are an office, a home gym, a movie theater, a spa, etc. The second to last tip is to use keyboard shortcuts while you're building. If you use a computer to play, these are incredibly convenient and make building much easier. I mentioned the shift and click shortcut earlier, but I will put a list of all the shortcuts for building on the screen. The more you build, the easier it will be to remember these, and the faster you will build. Finally, the last tip is to buy advanced placing. You don't need any game passes to build a good house. However, some game passes are incredibly helpful. The best game pass for building is Advanced Placing. Advanced Placing allows you to place objects closer to other objects, allows you to use the resize tool, and allows you to place structural items freely. The game pass is only 200 Robux and lets you build with way more detail and creativity, so I would highly recommend buying it. Anyway, that is going to be all for this video. Feel free to subscribe for more Bloxburg content. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you guys next time.